One of these days. There we go. We are live. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Billy Parrott, Meridian Real Estate, Billy in B-Town, and it is coffee chat time with my special guest, Jason Harris, also known as Big J from the Big J Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Finally.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, so I've been trying to get him on the show for a while, I think. Well, I tried once and I think you got sick or something.
Yeah.
So
and now we're back.
Now we're back. Now we're back. And I circled back and I said, hey, hello, you remember me? So thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it because I know you're busy and you just got done doing your show this morning. Mm-hmm. I did listen to a little bit of that and you have a big following.
They tell me that.
They tell you that.
So they say.
So they say. So do people call you, like when you like see people out and about, do they call you Big J? Do they call you Jason?
It's a mix.
Yeah.
But I'm fine. Honestly, some people call me other J names. And so I've kind of just throughout my life too, I get Josh or Justin. And so I'm kind of used to saying any J name just works. J. But so I get a lot of J or Big J. But then Jason, I'm used to all of them. So
that's how, like me, it's like I have so many. Nobody even really calls me by Billy. It's other nicknames.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Everybody's got a different.
Yeah, exactly. So give us a little bit of background of who you are. Maybe those that are watching from around the country might not know who you are. Give us a little bit of background.
Local Billings boy, born and raised here just down the street on the Metal Arc Elementary. Yep, 29th is my hood.
Way.
I moved from St. John's over to Terry. And then I own a house on Custer over there now. But to our family, we've all just walked around my whole life in the 29th block over there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, born and raised here, single mother, raised me, goofy, started doing BST.
No way. Kid. You did? So, you're a theater kid?
I'm a theater kid. Totally.
Theater kids unite.
Next level theater kid. If you could hear my stories of BST, but
really?
So my mom was busy and had 4 kids. And so BST became my like babysitter as a kid because she took me to a party there, and Dawn Havoc took me backstage because she's friends with the Havocs back then, and I think that's why she went to the event. He took me backstage at a Christmas show that AJ had written back in AJ remembers when this was, but he wrote a Christmas show that took place in a bar, and Dawn showed me the set, and I just at 10 years old I was like, I'm fascinated. So then I showed up and auditioned for a show and did my first growing stage show. And I realized I wasn't great on stage yet. So then I just became Jeff Boschi's like sidekick for, I would log my volunteer hours, had hundreds of hours, but it wasn't all volunteer. It was just like my mom would drop me off in the morning every day in the summer. And I would just follow Jeff and like fix lights and learn about building sets and get costume. And I just kind of lived. I had multiple shirts that I had made that said, theater is my life, BST is my home.
Are you serious?
And I would wear different shirts every day and show up in the theater in my BST is my home, theater is my life.
That is awesome.
And then,
when did you do that?
Radio. Probably I was at BST and then in high school went straight to Venture and started doing Venture shows.
Okay.
And then did Venture improv. And so then that was started doing professional improv with Venture in the bars in high school. So I got to go to bars as high school and get paid. And so that was cool.
Nice.
And then I got a job at the bar out of high school as a DJ. Or actually I started as a bouncer, as a joke at an improv show. I said I should be a bouncer, and then they ended up hiring me, and I thought it was cool. And then eventually a boss got drunk and fired somebody and then said, you want a DJ? And I said, yes. And so then I became a DJ, which then led to meeting people at the radio station. And then I started hanging out with them, very similar to BST, where I just follow them around.
Yeah.
And eventually they're like, do you want a weekend slot? And so I started just doing weekends and then filling in on afternoon. Eventually I presented them with the Big J Show and said, I want to take over your mornings. I don't think you've got a good show. They were doing something syndicated out of here. And I was like, here's my idea for something local. And they're like, all right, we'll give it a shot. And
that is awesome.
And then it just kept going. And
I'm glad that you said, because I was going to ask you, how did the Big J Show come about? And so, wow. So theater led to.
It was theater. So theater and speech and debate, mostly the speech, but which I consider theater.
Yeah.
Just like competitive theater. But so it was all, that was my upbringing and my goal. I tell kids all the time when I'm doing my motivational speeches, but I say my goal was to just not have to do real work.
Yeah.
Like once I got addicted to theater, where I wanted to be on SNL.
Oh,
like
same.
That was my one goal. But I thought as long as I can do something where I don't have to sweat and like lift heavy things, I can still make a living. I'm like, I'm happy. So I didn't care. I didn't think radio. At the time. I thought like stage or TV or something is what I wanted to do. And I was going to move to LA or New York immediately, and then just started enjoying what I had here, and then realized like I don't have to be in one of those cities to be able to do what I love and still make a living, which was the goal. And so I'm doing it. It's just not SNL. But
how many years has it been now?
Almost, it's been like the show itself is like 17-ish, I think, but I've been at the station for over 20 now.
Wow.
So same state. That's rare in radio. A lot of people bounce around, and just it's a very cyclical industry where we've worked with most of each other, and you kind of move around. But I've been at the same station the entire time, and just multiple owners and tons of different managers and different people, and
crazy.
Just power through.
How long has your sidekick McLovin been with you?
I think I want to say almost 15 years.
Okay.
I think he's been there for most of it. Came in pretty early on.
And were you guys like friends before?
That was a wild story too. Yeah, he was not an intern, or maybe he was a part-time employee that pushed buttons on another syndicated show down the hall.
Okay.
So we had hired him, but the way we hired him was he came through from the Career Center on a tour, and I gave the tour. So I was giving a tour to a bunch of broadcasting kids, showing them the radio station.
I did broadcasting there.
And at the end, we told him, we said, hey, if you guys want to apply. And so he applied for the job, and they hired him to push buttons. So he came and saw the station on tour, started part-time, and then he would come. I think he had to turn the talking on, and then he'd have to come back at the end of the hour and turn it off. So he had a ton of time to do nothing, and he would wander down the hall and sit in and listen to my show.
Yeah.
And I pulled him on the air once because he said something funny and started talking to him. And then eventually he'd come in more and more, and then they got rid of that crappy national show, and then he didn't have anything to do anymore. So it was just like, sorry, your work dried up. And so then I asked him, I was like, can we keep him and let him be on my show instead? And so
cool.
we kind of just, it all started naturally and organically, and like kind of like the show just kept on going.
And so how did he get that nickname?
That was from that movie. No.
Okay, it's from the okay.
The movie. That's right. People like, you stole it from the movie, and we're like, no, we literally did. But at the time, he was the movie guy. That's how he started. He used to come on and talk about movie reviews, and he would say, "Good, I loved it because everything he saw would be the best movie since something else." So I'm like, you saw a movie, what's it? The best movie since? But he would review movies, and he saw Superbad. And he came in and he said, "You've got to see this movie." And he said, I am McLovin. He's like,
and that's
and then I watched the movie, and I was like, you are McLovin. And so then it just totally stuck, where you're like, yeah, there's a guy in the movie that is just like you, a nerdy, goofy dude.
Is so funny. I love that. Because I would say the Big J Show is a very huge part of the Billings community. I mean, do you feel that way?
It scares me. It feels weird when people say that, but I'm like, it is kind of like, there was like one morning, there was something happening in town, and like the mayor said something about it. He's like, yeah, I knew something was happening. I just turned you guys on. Let knew what was going on. And I was like, I appreciate it. And I hear it, but it feels weird.
Yeah.
To feel like that there's that many people are paying attention.
Right. So how do you come up with your content? Because that's probably the hardest part, right? Is like do you read the news?
I think coming up with it wouldn't be hardest part. I would say like choosing what to do, because I could talk for 20 hours a day. I consume so much, like a ridiculous amount of news from every genre and corner of the internet.
Right.
And so I'm just so overloaded and could talk forever.
Yeah.
That for me, it's more of like trying to go, do I want to do this story or that one? And do I spend this much time on that and forget about this? Or so trying to get in as many stories, where I feel like there's so many stories that I want to tell that it's like, which ones can I fit into these 4 or 5 hours today?
Yeah. Well, I was listening a little bit this morning in my car, and I think McLovin was bringing up, or maybe it was you, about the rubber duck thing that was happening in Chicago. And I was like, I was just there. And I saw, because we were up in the realtor building, and I was looking down, and you see these huge ducks and Special Olympics stuff. I'm like, what's going on there? I didn't even know what was happening because we were stuck in the building all day. So you guys informed me of what was going on.
Even in Chicago, yeah, we got you.
Even in Chicago, they know what's going on.
They raised $400,000.
I know, that's crazy. I would have loved to seen that, all those ducks going down the river, I guess you would call it.
How was Chicago?
It was awesome.
Real estate's so good. You're stuff for the nation.
I'm in leadership stuff, so learning all that, because a lot of people are like, what exactly are you doing? So it's like,
somebody's got to handle stuff.
But no, I love Chicago. Have you been?
I've not been.
I've never been.
And I love the idea of Chicago because it's a comedy background. It's Second City. It's the improv and comedy scene. So it's like the comedy capital. And I had a few comedy friends that went straight to Chicago.
Really?
I was like, I wanted to follow them, but didn't. But I had not been.
We had Second City come and teach us improv at our leadership in Chicago, and when I heard Second City, I knew exactly like who that. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like so many talented people have come out of there. And then we have these two people from there teaching us improv, and I was like, "This is the best day ever."
Yeah, I would love to do.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Like one of the activities they had us do is we had to figure out a problem, then we had to figure out what the solution is, make a product out of it, pick a spokesperson, a celebrity spokesperson. Then we had to come up with a jingle, and then we had to make a commercial. You're having realtors do this, okay?
I'm sure some are better than others.
I mean, the stuff that came out, I was very pleased. I was like, okay, everybody is pretty funny. And let's see, I think we have a comment here. I just want to make sure.
It's just Ian checking in. Yeah, see, I used to Ian.
You know Ian.
Ian and I used to play roller hockey together on the Metal Art playground.
No way.
And me as a different nickname, Capri. They used to call me because I always had a Capri Sun.
Oh no way.
I think I was a little younger, like a year or two younger than Ian, but the very unathletic and fat curly-haired kid that just was there to drink a Capri Sun. I think I was always the goalie because I couldn't skate well. But, but yes, we did play roller hockey. We were on that same. He was on the 29th Street. We all rolled together in that little neck of the woods over there.
What's up, Ian? Shout out to you, friend. I love Ian. He's always commenting on my stuff. Let me just make sure nobody is. Hey, my daughter's watching. And so is both my daughters are watching. Hey guys.
Family.
Hey everybody.
Your son.
I know my son is probably still sleeping. So let's talk about my son. How did that come about? Like, because he was on your show.
Yep. That was through the Career Center.
Yeah, that's right.
Teacher
Their
that
program.
does. Yep. They come on there. McLovin has some friends that teach at the Career Center that he does trivia with, and all the guys that teach that also are on the game shows. He's friends with all of those guys.
Okay.
If you teach and have been on Jeopardy, McLovin is your friend.
Okay.
And they do a lot of the business classes at the Career Center. So
nice.
And so he knows them, and they said, "Hey, can we bring the kids on and talk about our
He was loving that. Yeah. He's like, this is so cool.
He is your son.
Yes, he is.
He's ready for the limelight.
And he's one of those that I keep pushing because he's very witty. He's very quick on his feet. I am not, but he's got it. He's got it. And I was like, you gotta go to Second City or somewhere like that and just try. Exactly. Or even here locally, like you said, the improv stuff, right?
There's still a lot. Honestly, the comedy scene has grown. It used to be back in the day there was Calamity Jane players that go really far back, and then Venture Improv was around, and then the theater groups would do kind of shows here and there. But there was just improv was the only weekly thing, and now there's still weekly improv. There's youth improv. There's regular stand-up shows. There's open mics. I feel like even just for comedy, there's so much going on in Billings that people can, if they want to try it out or just watch something. Yeah. Even national comedy. I mean, we get Pete Davidson was just here, which is huge.
Did you go?
I did not go. I'm not a huge, and I hate to, it's controversial, but I'm not a huge Pete Davidson stand-up fan. I like Pete as a character.
I was gonna say,
but his stand-up, I'm not.
I
feel like the jokes are very much just like, if you really like Pete, you might like the jokes.
Yeah.
I'm much more of a comedy purist of I need just really, really good, well-written jokes. And I'm like, so he's not for me, which I know is controversial. So,
I mean, hey, he's not for everybody. Just
my fiance loves him and wants to see him a million times. Yeah. But I think it's less for his comedy, and she just thinks he's cool. Some ladies do.
Oh, I know. It's so funny. But yeah, when I heard that he was doing stand-up, I'm like, stand-up? I just couldn't envision it.
He sells it out. Yeah. I mean, it's sold out fast.
That's crazy. So who is your favorite comedian?
That's tough.
I know. Right? It's such a hard.
Over time, I mean, I've loved so many over the years, but right now, a weird niche one. I like a guy named Ian Bagg. He's a Canadian guy, but I've seen him.
Canadians are always funny. Why is that?
He's a funny hockey guy, loves hockey because Canadian. But I accidentally saw him in Texas when I was visiting my fiance down there. We went to a comedy show, and he just happened to be the comedian, and I loved him. And then we went to visit her family a year or two ago, and we were in Denver, and they said, "We're taking you to a comedy show," and it happened to be him. So we said, "We love this guy." Saw him again, and then recently when I was visiting her in DC, he was there again. So I've seen him 3 times in 3 different places and met him. But he's very much just a crowd work guy. So that's his gift. He gets up on stage, and the whole show each show's different because he's just going, "Who are you? Where are you from?" And then but he's so quick and so great. The whole show is just him picking on different and telling stories. We got this lady, we know her story now, and I love that style.
That's
like,
cool.
It's like improv. I mean, the whole show, it's like him. You don't know what you're gonna get. He's making fun of people that he just found out have this condition, or I mean, it's just so it's very edgy, but very. I love that style of kind of as you see it happening kind of comedy, where you just feel like you don't know what's gonna happen, but
I love that too. Like if it's different every time.
Yeah.
Right? So like every show is going to be different. I love Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I'm a big show.
Yeah, I mean,
I can watch more. Even stand up that I don't love myself personally, I still appreciate it. Like the joke structure and the storytelling.
Right.
I just love comedy.
And you have to be a good storyteller.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody is.
No.
I am not. I am not a good storyteller.
No. I feel like I can tell stories, but I can't write jokes. So I've never done stand-up where I've done improv because I can make something up, but I can't properly structure a joke and stand on stage for a certain amount of time. And like, I just don't have that skill necessarily. People are like, you're funny, do stand-up. And I'm like, I don't know how to take what I think is funny and put it into a form that works in that crowd. And my mind is too ADD. I would just end up talking to the audience.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that would work.
Hey, maybe that would work. Hey, McLovin's watching.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, Big J, he says. McLovin himself is watching the old Instagram.
He loves the Insta. He's one of you internet kids.
He's one of us internet kids. So what's the wildest thing that's ever happened on your show? Or is there anything like real crazy that you can think of?
Oh, there's a million.
Okay. Spill the tea.
I'm trying to think. I always look at McLovin. McLovin, what is our most crazy thing? I would say we've had some big, weird, like I would say probably something that went national would be like one of the craziest moments. But
you guys went national?
Yeah, we had a Bing Rames interview where the actor from the Mission Impossible movies and the Arby's voice, the We Have the Meats guy, he was on and he went a little crazy during his interview. Like, he was mad at somebody behind the scenes, and it was a weird interview, but we did it. And then it ended up TMZ ran it, and Howard Stern played it and talked about it. So, which to me in radio, you're like, if you're playing here, and Howard Stern's like, why is this guy in Montana? This guy's good. But it was that was crazy because you're getting calls from people.
Yeah.
So that was fun. We did it again with Snooki when she was on from Jersey Shore.
You guys had Snooki?
We had Snooki on, and she asked, "Where is Montana? Is that a state?" And so that one I got on E! News and a lot of those websites. And Snooki asks if Montana is a state. And so those are fun moments. But then we've also, I think it'd definitely be an interview where we've interviewed Bill Clinton, and so some of those like.
You guys have interviewed Bill Clinton
on the phone. It's like most of them are on the phone,
but still though.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get them on?
That one was for Obama's campaign, I believe, or maybe he was calling for Hillary, which I guess would make more sense since it's his wife. Right. But that one would just be like they reach out. The campaigns, I think,
to the big.
So they go, who's big in this area, and they reach out and say, would you like an interview with
You're
President Clinton?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, of course we would.
I was gonna say no to that.
Yep, we had all the Trump kids. And obviously I had to think about it. We had Ivanka before, and then we've had Eric and Don Jr. And so we kind of bounced. We've had John McCain in studio. John McCain came in before he passed away and was in town and came into the studio.
Wow.
So some of those moments, but then we've also had SNL people in the studio too, and so those get wild. We've had Chris Kattan.
You had Chris Kattan?
We did improv with Chris Kattan here.
What?
Which was awesome.
Where was that?
That was probably 10 years ago now.
I love Chris Kattan.
Yeah. Chris Kattan's here. Tim Meadows, he was in the studio. So, and then Jeff, the nature guy, brought one of them. He brought a snake to, and one a turkey, and they both freaked out about whatever animals he brought. So that was kind of fun. Steve-O was in studio for a while, so that was
wow.
That got something he said in the interview got used like in his fight against Amy Schumer, and so then it was like put into internet videos and used like he said something controversial. So those are kind of the fun moments when you get involved in something bigger than when the show kind of a story gets legs of its own.
Wow.
But I love the interviews personally. Like I could talk to.
See, and I love, that's why I do this. We were talking a little bit about that before we went live. Like, it's just, I mean, obviously I don't make money off this. It's just something I enjoy doing. I love it. Like meeting, like, okay, this is something, he comes walking in and I feel like I know you. Like we've never actually met. This is the first time we've actually met in person, but I feel like I know you, like, because social media and obviously your radio show, right? So that just shows the power of social media and putting yourself out there, because then people feel like they know you, right?
That's what you're saying. Yeah, driving down the alley, getting here, a girl that I know, and I realized we've never met, but I almost said hi to her because we know each other via Facebook and around town. But
That's so funny. I love that. So is there, looking back, is there like your ultimate favorite interview that you've done that you can just say that's like my favorite? Or is there like somebody that you've always wanted to have on the show?
I always wanted to have Robin Williams, so that sucks because now there's no chance.
Yeah.
But when I first started radio, I didn't know how anything worked. So because I started with a lot of like, which is good for the show in the end, looking back, but I started with very little guidance.
Yeah.
Where it was like, I knew basic radio of stuff. I didn't know how to do a morning show.
Right.
And they're kind of like, sure, if you want to do it, go for it. So I figured stuff out as I went and just created what we were doing, but I didn't know how to get interviews. And so I would just sit in a conference room at the station by myself all day and send emails, just like Google, try to find a name of somebody that worked with Robin Williams and just say, I'm a guy that does a show and I love Robin Williams, and never worked. Like not a single person ever replied. But I would try so hard. I'm like, I'm such a fan. Can I get 5 minutes of his time? And but I loved Robin Williams, so never got that. But I honestly just some of the people I wouldn't think would be super cool are super cool, and then some of the people I really looked forward to are not as cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Goo Goo Dolls guy, I forgot his name.
Yeah,
the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls.
What is it?
Is it not Resnick? Is it Red John?
I think so.
Is it? I look at McLovin. What's that guy's name? But he sucks. He was not fun at all.
Oh, really?
And we're promoting his show. He was on to like promote a concert. He was just super lame. And one of those where you're like excited to help somebody promote their thing, and then they come on and are just like, I don't want to be here. And like, why are you
then
here?
Why are you here?
So those are where you're just kind of like, I liked your music, but now I'm like, now when I hear it, I'm like, screw you guys.
Because they were here, right?
Yeah, they were. So it was on the phone, but they were coming to town. So like, hey, you just want to have a lot to promote the show? Like, sure. And then he called me like, what?
Are you serious?
Oh my gosh. We're here for you, buddy. Like, we're doing you. I mean, yeah, we want to talk to you, but we're helping promote your show.
We're trying to help promote you.
I don't make money off you selling tickets.
Yeah. Have you ever had, I mean, obviously that interview, but have you ever had someone you're interviewing where they're one-word answers and you're like really just trying to pull stuff out of them? Isn't that the worst?
Totally. And you know with doing this, but in radio, nobody in radio is doing live interviews because it's stupid and dangerous.
Yeah.
But we do only live interviews because that's the only way we've done it. But so we can't, if we do a bad interview, you just listen to a bad interview where normally you just wouldn't air it. You go, that was bad, we're not going to air it.
It's not going.
You're there for the ride, where if it's good, you heard it go well. And if it's crazy, you heard the crazy. And if it's bad, you unfortunately sat through a boring interview where I'll try to end it early, but out of respect for them taking their time. I don't want to just cut them off immediately. But if I can tell they're really boring, I'm like, all right, let's get to the point here and kind of just promote your book and wrap this up quickly because
it's tough.
Yeah, some of them are very, very hard to talk
very
to.
dry and and then you're just like,
I've had a few of those.
Yeah.
I try to honestly, with some of the people I know very little about, I try to find other interviews with them to watch from on TV shows or something to go, are they lively? And are they boring? Because if they're boring and I don't know much about them, I'm like, probably not. But there's some people I know nothing about, but I find out this person's awesome. Like, I'd love to talk to them.
Yeah. Some people just have the gift of gab.
Yeah. Exactly.
Some people don't.
McLovin brought up Aaron Carter. I saw there. Aaron Carter, the singer, he is from a different generation. But Nick Carter, his brother, is the Backstreet Boy guy. But
I was going to say Aaron Carter.
He died fairly recently, but he was on our show in the studio and hung out with us for like a full show and just ended up going fishing with McLovin later in the day.
No way.
Super cool. We had fun with him. But his sister is making a documentary now for Paramount Plus, and they just this week licensed our interview with him to use in the film because they said they don't have they have his childhood videos and then they have him playing with her kids, but they don't have videos of him as an adult professionally, and so they wanted to use our video interview.
That's cool.
And so then they were working out money and stuff, and we had to make a donation to Tumbleweed here in Billings in his name. So it's like a fun full circle thing. He passed away, but they're making a movie about what he dealt with, and then we gave money to a cause in his name, and just kind of fun stuff like that. We didn't know that. We had fun with this celebrity musician in the studio, and now it's like it ended up coming back and donating to a Billings charity.
What happened to? I don't know if I knew that.
He OD'd in his bathtub, so he had some. By the end, he was really, you could tell, getting like a new face tattoo a day, and where you're kind of just going, this isn't looking good. Like he started doing a lot of things that you're going, ooh, this looks kind of risky, and then
that's sad.
Away. And I think then they lost a sister, so I think their family has lost a few because they were like those rich Disney kids growing up. So kind of the parents, they had like golf cart. They were on cribs. I remember watching them. Their family. They had like an island in Florida where they had golf carts and their own individual houses. Wow. Because your brother's a Backstreet Boy, you're a Disney kid.
Well,
so I think that kind of had a little effect on them growing up.
That's sad.
Yeah.
What happens to Disney kids? Like,
I think we've seen that a lot of them. Some of them do very well, and some of them do well and then falter.
And then fall out. Yeah, it's just I don't understand what's in the water. So how do you keep your energy up during interviews? Because it could be daunting. Because what time do you start in the morning?
6. So it starts at 6
Okay.
and ends at, we say 10, but it usually ends at 11.
Okay.
So it's sometime between 10 and 11.
Okay.
And no music for people listening. People don't know that, but we play only commercials and straight talk. So it's for people that have not listened to the show. It's not like normal radio shows. It's a music station, but then in the morning, which is straight talk with some commercial breaks, but no music.
But you used to play music back.
Yep.
Okay.
But now it's for years now. It's evolved. So the station still plays music the rest of the day, but we've started talking so much that we used to do music and then talk a little, and then we talk a little more, and then now it's like, no, now we just talk.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think people I think podcasts are obviously like really popular right now. Like you got, what's his name? Rogan.
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Joe.
I always say Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen's a completely different guy.
Totally different.
Sorry. But like Joe Rogan, like, cause you can just, especially like, I mean, obviously yours is live. Do you guys have it somewhere where people can go listen to a replay or anything?
We will eventually, I'm sure, just because we should, and that's how things are moving, but we don't.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Which I kind of like, but also I know we've got to move to the other. But I like the immediacy and the fact that it's like it's there, very much like comedy. Where I love the shows you go to and it's like lock up your phones.
Yeah.
Nobody, you know that even if something bad happens, it's like your word against there. You know, it's not like here's a video of it and you got to deal with it. It's like I like that we're all in it together. We all shared the moment and it's gone.
And then it's gone.
Yeah. And it's like,
and then you start
like
anew the next day.
It's like a movie. That's the difference between theater and a movie. It's like you're all experiencing it. For the first time, you're a theater person, so you appreciate it. But I saw Back to the Future at the Kennedy Center, and it's the first time I've seen a major technical hang up in a show where like a set piece froze to the point where they had to stop the show and say like, please wait a minute while we, and then they had to reset and restart the show. And I had never seen that in a live production before, but that's what I love about that. It's like we saw a totally different show because of that than the show the day before or after. And so I kind of like that about it, that it's like anybody that decided to be there for it got to experience that. And if you didn't, you missed out. And it's like, I kind of like that, but I also understand that people are busy and you gotta be able to package it up nice and neat for people.
No, but I get you though, because like that is what's magical at live theater, is because you never know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance.
I mean, I love those. I just remember I have so many theater moments, and those are the ones that stick out. The unique things, or the one-off things, or the thing that they fixed because it didn't go quite right. And I'm like, once you polish all that, or then have that as the clip, you're like, well, no, that was a one-night thing. You know, I don't want. And I know it'll be there, but it's like certain things. It's like, I said it in the moment. Like, I don't want it to be like on a bumper sticker. Or like, it was like in the midst of a 4-hour-long conversation. I was making a point. Like, that's not my stance on life, and so. I'm afraid, like, now that everything gets clipped down, it's like, you said this. I'm like, yes, but if you listen to the whole thing.
They turn it around.
Because there's so many things that, I get all the time. People are like, you said this. And it turns out I didn't. They just heard through the grapevine, which happens all the time. But then even times when people hear something, it's like, you heard you say this at the tail end of a conversation. So
you don't got the full context.
Which I'm used to dealing with when I'm like, oh yeah, once I have it out there, it's going to get even worse.
Yeah, right? Yeah, because like I was in The Wedding Singer recently, and I sing. I'm not a good singer, but I sang. And not every time, but at least 3 shows of the whole run, my mic went out during my thing. And I'm thinking, are they doing this on purpose? They didn't. I love you guys at the Billy Studio Theater, but every time.
For this one was the main actor who I'm sure was like making the most in the show, playing Doc in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
He's done tons of TV and tons of Broadway, Tony Award winner. And so the guy's done his productions, and he was on the clock tower. At the end, they wheel this thing. It's supposed to go all the way across stage, and he's stuck in this position, and it freezes mid-stage. And there was probably 5 minutes that he just had to stand there looking at us in the audience, frozen, while they waited to pull him off stage. And the audience is going like, is this supposed to happen? And he just stood there in character and just didn't break and waited till they pulled him off stage. And that's got to be awkward.
Pure
especially as a professional. This sucks, but what am I going to do? I'm going to wait it out and come back and finish the show.
That's hilarious. I can appreciate that. So going back to the energy thing. So like, do you drink coffee? Do you drink
That's what gets me. As you know, I'm a
awesome. Like, can
I'm
I
a
get you
morning
coffee?
radio guy that hates mornings.
Yeah, but
And
you do hate
yeah,
mornings.
hate it. On the weekends, I sleep in. I would sleep till noon if I could.
Okay.
I am naturally not a morning person. It's just I have to for work. People
Yeah.
tell me all the time, like, "Oh, I'd listen, but I don't get up that early." I'm like, I wouldn't either. If
Yeah.
I didn't have to. Like,
Right.
I do it because that's when they told me to be there. But I hate mornings normally, but I don't drink coffee, and that gets people. I've never really liked. I'll do a frappuccino here and there,
Yeah.
but that's more like a milkshake
Yeah,
to me.
it is.
But normal coffee is just not my thing. So I'm water, just a ton of water.
No caffeine at all.
No, I mean I do caffeine in general. Like I'm a big Diet Coke guy.
Oh, okay.
In the morning, it's just
But just
a
water.
pound of water.
Good for you.
A lot of water.
Good for you, because I've
A lot of
been
bathroom breaks, but yeah, a lot of water for me.
I've been addicted to energy drinks lately, and I know that's not very healthy, but it's the fizz, right?
Mhm.
It's the fizz, and like I don't know, I feel like I'm like, oh, I can take the day, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I'm trying to lean off of it a little bit. But I don't drink coffee either anymore. I used to.
I think it's like, and maybe you'll get it as a theater thing, but I think a lot of it for me is performing. So I realize like it's a performance for me, and so for me, I just turn it on. Where it's like the same way I wouldn't go on stage and like phone it in.
Yeah.
So to me, like I show up at work very shortly before the show starts. You know, I'm not there super early getting ready. It's like I roll out of bed, get in there, and then have to turn it on and start entertaining out of the gate. So it's like I think I just after this many years, I'm trained to fire it up, get out of the can and start rolling, and then like I peter off later in the day. Like I'll start losing my energy and like losing steam, but it's like I think I'm trained to start hard out of the gate, do your big heavy lifting, and then relax later in the day.
Do you ever have like bad days where you're just not into it, like no energy and
Totally. And I just phone. I mean, that's not phone it in, but I think at that point it's just you fake it. And usually, luckily, it's like you fall into a groove.
Right.
And especially having somebody like McLovin to bounce things off.
Yes.
Then I can he'll say something funny or interesting, and that'll then get me back in a better mood.
Yeah.
So usually, even if I start the show that way, by the end of the show, I'm in a totally different headspace.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things. Is like I never know. Even when I start the show and go, these are probably the things we're going to talk about. By the end of the show, I always look back and go like, I did not think we were going to do an hour on this, or I didn't think that would, or something in town happens.
Right.
You know. And
yeah.
Then we're like, I didn't plan on doing storm coverage, half the day, or it's just like that. But I love that it's like that's what we do. We're here to talk about whatever people want to talk about at that moment. We don't know what it's going to be or how
I
it's
love that.
Go.
See, I really appreciate that. So like, if you're ever sick, like, does McLovin have to take over? Okay.
Rarely am I sick, but if I go on vacation or something, he's doing the McLovin show. He plays music. Yeah, he plays his favorite. He likes some Dashboard and some of the sad boy music. So
sad boy music. Yeah. I love that sad boy music. So what kind of music do you like?
I would say I don't do a ton of just solid music listening. I'm so much of like a news and talk guy. But I would say hip hop would probably be my favorite. But I also like back in the day I loved Matchbox 20 for a while. So I go around. I'm very much, as McLovin knows, I'm openly not a big country fan. I think that's like a genre I will attack for, and I respect people in it, but I think it's mostly the mainstream popular ones that they're just so easy to make fun of. For me. And I think a lot of it came from growing up here. Where I think a lot of people, like, oh, it's country, it's fun, it's a novelty. And it's like I grew up in Billings, like it was around me my whole life. So I'm like, I've been inundated with it. Hip hop for me is different. Where I'm like, I get to learn about a new culture, new music, like I like it. It's like country's been my life. So to me, I think it's like I ran away from it because it's around me so much.
Yeah.
But I like Garth Brooks, I like the classics. I like some of the newer guys that are really authentic and real. I like, but
because some of it's really poppy.
Yeah, all the really bro. I think they call it bro country. Yeah,
bro country.
All the stuff is just trucks and my beers in the trucks and
in the
tractor. In the trucks. And, tractors and trucks and beers and girls and dogs.
And dogs. You just sang a whole country song right there. I'm the same. Country is probably not my favorite, but I did go through a weird phase for about a year, and my family will attest to this. Country, like I was listening to nothing but country for some reason, and it was driving them insane. They're like, "Can you turn this off?" Well, now I'm driving them crazy with Bad Bunny and music. So
I'm on the Chapel Roan train right now. If anybody wants to get deep and weird, she is a newer performer, but she's a drag queen, but she's a female and she's a lesbian. I believe she's very hard to pin down, but I would compare it to Lady Gaga, where she's very performance heavy. Like she's usually in some sort of a an outfit, like she looks like she's in costume, but she's playing huge like festivals and stuff now where they can't like people can't get in. They're filming like they're standing on bridges to watch her.
What?
But she's just very, very unique and very. She reminds me of Lady Gaga. Like Elton John loves her. Like that's her motto is your favorite artist's favorite artist. Like Sabrina Carpenter and all those new young girls, they all love her. So she's very artsy, kind of like me. She reminds me of like a theater kid that's like, I also sing well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
She's getting in the pop world now, but yeah, Chapel Roan, check her out.
Chapel, how do you say the last name?
Roan, R-O-A-N.
Okay, Chapel Roan. Everybody check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
She has a real name too, but that's like her character.
That's her performance. Yeah, that's her performance name.
But that's the new thing, and it's very fun. I love it on TikTok so much that I get all the videos of people singing her songs, but it's very like theater kiddie themed. So then you get funny videos of like big burly construction guys singing along to her songs too.
I love that.
Very funny because you wouldn't think of them, but they're like, "This is a good song."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her song, Big Pony Club, and then she has one that's hot to go, and she has arm HOTTOG, and the whole crowd does the arm gesture.
Like YMCA.
Very similar to that, but you get like a whole Lollapalooza crowd doing her song together.
Oh, she like performs at Lollapalooza?
Yeah, she did Lollapalooza this year.
Wow.
They said one of the biggest, I think it was the biggest day crowd they had for any act ever.
That's a big deal
for her.
That's a huge
music. Yeah, she's coming up.
Wow.
Check her out if you're into weird Lady Gaga.
I am into weird Lady Gaga. I love Lady Gaga. I was a huge Madonna fan too growing up as a kid.
You might be in the Chapel Roan.
Okay, I might be. I think I will be. If you could have a celebrity co-host for a day, who would that be?
Interesting.
I know. That is a hard one, isn't it?
That is tough. I'm trying to think of who would be. I'm just thinking of other hosts right now. Like I'd probably just go with like a Jimmy Fallon. Yeah. But everybody hates Jimmy Fallon. But
why is that? Why do people hate Jimmy Fallon?
Answer McLovin. He hates it. I think. I think they think he laughs too much.
Okay.
I think that's what people have said. I'm like, what's wrong with laughing? It's a funny show. It's light.
Right.
But I like Jimmy, and I like his work on SNL. So I think somebody like him that gets hosting and can be funny would be fun to rip. And he's the improv. When you could somebody that could improv with me. Yeah. Like when I have comedians on, and you like when they start making jokes and you start riffing and like when the comedy minds link up. Yeah. That's always really fun. So probably a really good. Maybe like a Chappelle, somebody like that.
Oh my God.
When they were on. Yeah. Because at this point in their career, a lot of times they turn it off. So you need to get them willing to. Right. Usually it's the up and comers that are more on because they have something to prove. Where the older guys are like, you know me. You know I'm funny.
You know I'm funny. Yeah. I don't have to be funny anymore. Jimmy Fallon would be a good one. Like Jimmy Fallon back in the SNL days. Like I don't really watch his night show or whatever, but he's funny when he does his little music skits. He's hilarious. I think he's funny.
He's a funny guy.
But maybe people don't like the talk show.
Jimmy. I think that, because he just laughs at everybody and they don't like giggling. Yeah. Maybe I like giggling.
Yeah. Adam Sandler, what do you think?
I like him.
Some people absolutely hate Adam Sandler.
But I grew up in the generation.
So I do too.
Yeah, so I'm listening to the music, I'm watching all the movies. Yeah. So it's like I'm Billy Madison generation. So to me, it's like, you got. I mean, maybe it doesn't stand up now. Yeah. But at the time, I mean, those were great. Happy Gilmore. Yeah. So to me, it's like, and then I think he's honestly done a good job of continuing it. I think he's had a good. He's done some stinkers in the midst, but it's like he's got a long career, and a lot of his stuff still even holds up if you understand. He's making more kind of family friendly, fun Netflixy movies. But it's like if you go and know what you're getting, I think it's.
Yeah, and he dresses like a dad.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got his own style.
He does have his own style. My husband kind of dresses like Adam Sandler. What is the most unexpected feedback you've ever received from a listener? Like a comment or feedback?
Oh, honest. I was going to say I get a lot of interesting feedback.
Really?
I used to get in a lot more trouble back in the day. I used to be a little more controversial. Yeah. I was a little more angrier and like trying to be hot buttony, and I'd like try to rile people up. Yeah. And but there were so many people that used to hate me. One of my houses I drove by on the way over here, it got firebombed with like Molotov cocktails.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was at an event and when I came home and there was a broken window. I walked in and I didn't even see the window, and I walked in and there was glass on the floor and a bottle with a burnt rag hanging out the end of this vodka bottle. And I guess I have to call the police. I'm like, that seems like it could have been bad. Wow. But yeah, I made some people angry back in the day. Luckily, not as much anymore, but. I think the most interesting feedback has been people now there's been a few people that have messaged me recently about something that happened a long time ago and told me a story where somebody will say, hey, I'm a full grown adult now. I live here. And I just wanted to say, when I was a kid, this happened to me and you said this, and now I'm fully grown and I still remember this. And to just see like people that I'm like, wait, you were a kid when this happened, and now, and then I do kind of remember the story, and now you're an adult. And it's weird. Or people that'll say, I fought with you about this years ago, and like now I've come back and you're so much better at it. And I just wanted to tell you, like,
interesting.
I'm like, gosh, that's weird. Whether like I moved away for 15 years and came back and listened. And
wow.
It's weird that people are like checking me years later, going, hey, you fixed the thing that I didn't like, or you don't do that thing anymore. And I'm like, oh, it's nice to hear that people on the outside see the evolution of the show.
Wow.
But yeah, those are kind of fun to just go, it's interesting to see that how, and now I just feel old because now everybody's like, you were here at the beginning of my life, or you came and spoke to my second grade. And, yeah, we had you on when my kid was born, and the kid's 48 now.
Stop. 48. Kid's 48.
Tucker from Top Sandwich Company on the show this morning. Yeah. He's like, you were there before any of our locations. You were there before we named it Tops when we were, and I'm like, yes, we've been there the whole time. And like now it gets sold every business. Like, you were here when we first opened. I'm like, I know. I know.
You're like, thanks for telling me how old I am now.
Yeah, everybody's kids. Like, you came to my school. At first I was like, I'm not that old. No, I'm like, yeah, I probably did come to your school.
Well, it's crazy how like fast time flies, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. Because I moved here in 92, 93 from Chicago. And it just seems like a whole different time, right?
Mm-hmm.
A whole different, like, was that me? Like, it's crazy.
The city. I remember I used to ride my bike from the 29th in my hood over there to my grandparents' house, which was just off of Central past Shiloh in the Wells subdivision there. And it was a ride in the middle of nowhere with the gas station in the middle. I'd stop and get a drink, but it was right in fields. Yeah. And now it's just like fully developed all the way out. But back in my childhood, it was like, you drove, way out on the west end past everything.
It was all farmland.
Yeah. And now it's just like, no, the whole thing's developed all the way up there.
Shiloh, like you just go down now and it's just building after building after building.
And Billings back in the day used to be like one thing would be built every few months, where you're like, what's the building that's being built? And everybody would talk about it. Now it's like you can't even keep up with like, wait, there's that, and there's 7 car washes and 8 casinos.
Oh my God.
5 apartments.
Let's talk about the car washes. How many car washes does a town need?
Oh, I've researched because I've been fascinated by this. So
how many car washes?
Here's what I found. I think that the thing is, it's an easy, cheap way to long-term protect that real estate. So what I heard is, so smart business people are saying it's like a cost-effective way to make enough money to cover the investment, but they don't plan on doing that forever. They know that 20, 15 years down the line, they're going to want to sell that plot of land. It's paid for itself. It's going to be, so they're saying that that's like it's lucrative / it's more of a parking, like what do we use this land for before we sell it off for something more? But it's like a big trend in a lot of cities where they're just going, why do we need 10 car washes on every street? And they're somehow, at first they're making the joke of Breaking Bad, like this is all money laundering. But now it's like,
I've heard that
it can't be that much money laundering because it's in the other cities, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it's the parking real estate and just putting something on it for the future, but also they're selling memberships now. So they're operating much more like a gym where a lot of people are paying $25 a month and not going. So they don't have to be that busy, and they're still making money that way.
That's true.
I guess they say once you build them, they're very cheap because it's just a little bit of maintenance and water and some supplies. So it's like you build it out once, makes your money, and then you sell the land when you're done with it.
Smart. And you don't really need a whole lot of staff either to manage.
Yeah, if you're like, hey, that land's going to be worth a bunch. I don't know what to buy it, put a car wash on it, and wait for 15 years when somebody pays you.
Oh, wow. I just learned something real estate from this guy.
More car washes, Bill.
Because at first, like, there wasn't enough car washes, right? Didn't you feel that way?
Dawn's growing up. Yeah, there's a few little self-pulling stalls where you do yourself, but Dawn's was you went to Dawn's car wash.
Yeah, Dawn's car wash. Is Dawn's car wash still around?
I think they have one down. I think there's one maybe there, and then maybe there's a Dawn. Is there Dawn? That's a good question. But it used to just be Dawn.
Yeah, it just used to be Dawn's. Yeah, now they're and all the roundabouts. It's driving me nuts. Can we just do away with the roundabouts, City of Billings, please?
No. Oh, they're gonna keep them.
What can we put here? Let's put another roundabout. Don't you feel that?
Yeah, there's a lot
like, oh my gosh, too many roundabouts. So Billings, since you've grown here, you've been here all your life. How have you seen it change? Like, because it does have a very unique. It's very hard to explain to people because I travel all around the country. Like what Billings is. Like, what is Billings to you? What do you think the culture is here?
That's a good question. I think Billings is small town America.
Mhm.
I used to say, like, I think that kind of sums it up on a little bit, but I think I used to describe it as like a big enough small town where like it has a small town feel, but it's big enough to have cool things
Yeah.
too. Where like it's not so small you don't get concerts and you don't get all the concerts,
Right.
but you still have a chance to see some cool shows. You get the benefits of a big city without the negatives of a big city. Where I feel like maybe that's the crime right now is a little bit more big city-ish.
Crazy, yeah.
But I think in general it's like you don't get the same problems that you would get moving to an actual big city,
Right.
but you get some of the benefits. Whereas, smaller communities they have to come here to Billings to
Yeah.
get the benefits, where I feel like we get the small town, a lot of people know each other, are friendly to each other vibes, but also with good concerts and entertainment and good food and diversity. And so I think it's kind of the perfect mix to me
Yeah.
of the big city benefits with the small town culture and vibes into one.
I'm gonna record that and then play it when I meet with
Yeah.
people, and I'm like, listen to this. This is what it's like.
It's just such a good city.
It is. I do.
Like geographically, it's cool. I mean, just the proximity to
The mountains.
Yeah, to be able to just get out and do
Yeah.
everything. Just the ease of accessibility, like
Yeah.
especially as you know from traveling, like you go to Chicago or somewhere and then come back and realize it's just being able to go park at Target
Yes.
and walk in and like run home and go to Albertsons. It's like
Yes.
and elevators and escalators and parking garage. Everything's so complicated, and here it's just it's easy.
It
like,
is.
You can choose to complicate it, but just day-to-day life, you can choose to live a very simple, easy life. Where in some big cities, like nothing is simple.
No,
nothing is easy.
It is not.
And yeah, so it's like that's what I love about Billings too. You can choose to live a slow, simple life and walk to the store and do, or you can live a fast-paced life. There's choices
Yeah.
to do either.
Yeah.
Like you can choose what kind of a life. You can be high tech and work your butt off, or you can fish
Just
at the
chill.
river and walk back home.
Yeah.
You kind of got choices to live whatever kind of life you want here.
Are you a skier?
I'm not. I've skied
I've
twice.
Never, really? I've
in
never
my
skied.
entire life here, but I'm not good at it, but I have done it.
Are you at the Bunny Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to do the pizza to stop, but yeah, I did it a few times as a kid. I have not as an adult.
I've never been skiing.
I've been to the ski hill. And
Me too.
But I've not actually gotten out there.
The closest thing I've been to skiing is when they do I don't even know if they still do it anymore, the Red Lodge, where they have
with the floats, whatever.
Yeah. Do they still do that?
I think they do.
And I remember going to that and thinking, this is freaking awesome. And then I was watching all the little tiny kid skiers, and I'm like, they're doing this? Like what? And I can't even. I'm scared.
That's what I'm like. Kids have it down. I've missed the boat.
I'm scared to break something. Like I'll be that guy that just rolls down the hill and breaks all my legs.
My problem is I'm the guy that would buy all of the gear.
Yes.
So I'd be like, if I'm going to ski, and then I'd buy everything and then ski once and be horrible at it. Own an entire outfit and a helmet and boots and.
That's what I did, and oh my god! So I got this big kick about it was during COVID, right? Roller skating, not rollerblading, but roller skating, right? So I did the same thing. I bought I bought the knee pads, the thing, the whatever, the expensive. I think I went twice.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, "Are you ever gonna go like roller?" No. Oh well, yeah, someday. Well. Mm-hmm.
I think COVID did that for a lot of people. I think a lot of people got a new hobby that now they're going, can I unload that on something expensive? Yeah.
Everybody was just trying something different so they wouldn't go crazy. How did you do during COVID?
I did pretty well, honestly. I mean, luckily for us, we have the show, so we were still able to do the show.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it's like I still have an outlet and work, so for me, it didn't, life was not as fun, but it's like work-wise, it's like, luckily I can still do.
Yeah.
We can separate ourselves enough.
Yeah.
And most of our interviews are over the phone. So it's like we could still function, but it was not fun like it was for everybody. I'm sure it sucked. But then also within our world, like you lose a lot of the celebrity interviews because they're not working.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody's promoting anything. So you lose that aspect. And then also having to talk about, it's just where it's like if that's the topic of the day, you have to cover it, but it's like it gets annoying.
Yeah.
Even as a person delivering the news of having to every day talk about COVID stuff over and over and over.
It was tiresome.
It's like election stuff where it's like I love paying attention myself to politics, but it's like I get sick of politics every day where I'm like, I'm so excited for the election to be over.
Oh,
and be
God,
like, can we talk about something else a little bit now? And
yes.
It's like you can't ignore it, but also it's like you don't want to spend too much time. But it's like there's so much political junk that I'm like, can we hurry and get to the election and just move, figure it out, and then be done for a while?
Pick the person and let's go.
Stop the commercials, stop all of it.
I hate the campaigning commercials where they're, talking bad about the other person, and it's just this back and forth thing.
And there's like 5 of them right now in a break, so you have 5 different commercials to figure out who said what.
Right. And it's like, can we like change it where you're just talking about what you're gonna do, not like what this other person is not doing? I think that would be a little bit better.
I think if we could make the rules, it would be better. Yeah.
Let's go campaign people. Let's change it around and be more positive. Ian said 12th and Grand, Don's holding strong. Was he hashtag Shotsky Don? I don't know what that means.
The Shotsky family. I think that's our our mutual friends.
Oh, okay. I was like, what's the Shotsky Dons? What is your all-time favorite on-air moment?
That would be. I was just thinking about when you said crazy. I'm going to answer an earlier question with my answer.
Okay.
But I forgot. I did fun moments and like celebrity moments, but probably the wildest moment I just thought was there was a hostage situation. So this isn't a good moment, but this is wild. At Rocky one day years ago, and they had closed all the way from the baseball field all the way to Rimrock, the whole block there. I mean, not just block, but a bunch of streets closed. You couldn't even get near the campus. They had it all locked down. And there was a guy that had a girl held hostage in one of the dorm rooms. And so it was like breaking news during the show. And it was, we didn't have our app at the time. Now you can communicate with us via app, but it was when I was using the phone still and talking to people old school. And I was trying to cover it, say, is there any news? What do we know? Covering it live. And I said, jokingly, if anybody knows anything, give me a call. I was like, if you are at the school, if you're the guy in the hostage situation, tell me what's up. And then I got a phone call. The guy said, yo, what's up? And I said, what can I do for you? And he said, this is the guy in the hostage situation. And so I'm talking to, I'm like, really? Yeah, I didn't believe him at first.
Are you serious?
The phone line went down. I was like, that was weird, and kept doing the show. And then I got a call afterwards from the Gazette, and they said you were on the phone with him, and the police cut the phone line and kicked the door in him and stormed him and ended the hostage situation. And the police are very upset with you, by the way. And it was this whole thing where I'm like, I didn't know that was even really him, but they used him on the phone with me as the time to cut the phone line and kick the door in. But I'm like, I didn't realize I was actually in the midst of an act beat. But he called the show, and we were they had it on in the dorm room while he was holding a girl hostage. And so heard me say that, and I said, call me if you know what's up. Called and said, hey, what's up? And was gonna, I guess, explain what was going on. But then luckily the police ended it. It was all fine. But I didn't think it was really the guy. I thought somebody.
Well,
it's me, the hostage guy, and then hung up on me. And then when the reporters called, they're like, yeah, no, we were at the scene, and he was on the phone with you, and they didn't know what, they cut the line and kicked the door, and
wow. So, you need to write a book.
And it's safe and sound. We've got some wild stories.
Yeah, that's a great story.
With DMX at Cracker Barrel. Yeah, we've got
at Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel was down there. He was coming into town, and we were gonna do an interview. And they were going to meet at the Mexican restaurant. There was a Mexican restaurant that was out there on that town, whatever that, Tori's.
Oh my God, I love Tori's.
So they were going to go to Tori's. I was like, great. And they're jerking me around, all day. And this is back in the day, but they're like, we'll meet with you. And so I'm just playing the game. I'm like, whenever. And they kept moving. They said, meet us at Tori's. I'm like, all right. So I headed out. I was waiting there. And they're like, you're not going to go to Tori's. Meet us at Cracker Barrel. I'm like, whatever. And I showed up at Cracker Barrel, and DMX was climbing on a rocking chair up onto the roof of Cracker Barrel to get his little rubber band airplane that he had purchased, that he flew up onto the roof, off of the roof. But then they were waiting for a table, and we spent probably 15 minutes in the parking lot just chit-chatting before they then had to get their food to go. And we ended up, he drove, which he's a bad driver. He's been in the news before he passed away for being a horrible driver.
Really?
Yeah, he would drive fake cop cars and pull people over. He does not have a license. He's not allowed to drive. And he said, I'm going to drive the Hot 1019 vehicle. I was there in our station vehicle, and he said, I'm driving this. And his manager's behind him going like, nope. And I'm like, you can't tell DMX no. So he grabbed the keys, and I grabbed in, and we drove. He crossed a median on King or somewhere, just drove over the top and just went through it and I'm sitting in the back, I don't know what to do. And I'm young, and this is DMX. And he stopped by a church, the church over by West High. There was an old classic truck there, and it might still be there in a guy's driveway. And he stopped and went and knocked on the guy's door and asked if he could buy the truck.
Stop.
As we were on our way to the shrine. And then he pulled up to the shrine with the line of people in the parking lot and made them get out of the way as they're waiting for his concert so he could get through to go sound check. They're like, that's DMX right there. The whole thing was wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's just, there's moments like that where they just kind of throw you into the situation. You're just like, I guess I'm in the back of a car with DMX. And if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. But and didn't get in trouble.
The manager's like, no.
Yeah,
no.
like, don't let him drive.
No,
I'm like, you
no.
tell him. You're his manager. I don't know him.
Wow.
But he drove, and we made it safe.
But you made it. That's good. That's
there.
That's good.
He did not get to buy the truck. Like I would not sell his classic
you wouldn't
truck.
sell it.
And now that he passed away, it's like now it's an even better story. We're like, he's gone now, and then we have fun memories.
Any damage to the car?
No, it smelled like weed.
It smelled like...
Other than that, it was physically it was fun.
It was great. That's hilarious. Yeah. I love those stories.
Yeah, they're weird and they're fun, but that's what I love about them. It's like they're real because it's like, yeah, that just happened that way. I don't know why or how, but it did.
I love the hostage one. Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah, it was very weird. And then again, it's live. That's why like I love for people that were there for like they were wait, that really they were with me probably when somebody pranked you and then they went, wait, that was the guy we just heard was actually putting the pieces together in real life. That was crazy. And
how long ago was that? I don't even remember that story.
15 years ago. That was pretty early on with the show. I don't even know if McLovin was there for that one. That might have been back in the day, but
what do you remember what the deal was? I mean,
no, I don't remember what he was doing it for. I don't remember the aftermath. I remember I didn't get in trouble with the police. Like they didn't ever end up.
It's not your fault. He's calling you.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Well,
what am I gonna do?
But I think they were just scared. They were like, well, why are you talking to the guy on a radio show? We're trying to do our job. I'm like, I didn't think I was really going to talk to him.
Yeah. I didn't think he was going to actually call me. That's awesome. So, I'm trying to think of what question I want to ask you next. So I put in ChatGPT some questions. I love ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's the way to do
it. Let's see. Now I'm going to ask this one. So how do you balance being entertaining and informative at the same time?
I would say my answer would be naturally.
Yeah.
I would say I try to be informative most of the time in the show with entertainment put in, which really makes a lot of people upset. Or they're like, this is supposed to be serious, like a joke. But to me, I'm like, you can tell a serious story and get the point across and also joke within it.
Yeah.
But I try to do that. But then I think overall, there are pieces of the show that are just generally just like know this information, and then parts that are just totally goofy and funny.
Yeah.
But I think I try to do a roller coaster. I've always said too where it's like I want you to feel a lot. I've said a lot over the years, but I used to say my whole goal on the show is to evoke emotion.
Yeah.
And I'd say, but I want to evoke different emotions. And sometimes people are like, well, you said that thing and that was offensive to people. And I'm like, yeah, but they felt something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be background music.
Right.
Because you can get that anywhere. I'm like, I want to make you some days laugh, some days be sad, some days get mad, some days go, what an idiot. But I want you to feel, get out of your car when you get to work or, in your office, like feel something when you're listening. But I want people usually within a show to feel some ups and downs. I don't want it all to be goofy. I don't want it all to be serious. So I try to balance.
Yeah.
Mix in a little bit of serious with the goofy, but I also try to put a little bit of fun in any story that's not. Some stories are just plain serious, but if you can add a little bit of fun and goofy and light into the informative stuff, I like that too.
Do you feel that people have gotten a little too sensitive?
Yes.
Like what?
I feel like there's a huge problem where, because like I also want to respect people too. So like some people are jerks and then say you're too sensitive when people react.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between like lumping an entire group of people together and saying you all are horrible, or like trying to be mean to people just for the sake of being mean to people, and then people just getting offended by nothing. Where like a great example is our app. Everybody messages in, I'll show, and if somebody says something that I think is funny, I just roast them. I make fun of them. I don't know who they are. To me, they're all my family. They're all just like auto-generated letters. I don't remember who's who. And then sometimes they'll be like, well, you didn't have to be a jerk about it. I'm like, I'm just being fun. Like, I'm trying to create content and use your comments. So, like, I'm not thinking about you personally.
Yeah.
Like, so they take it very personally. I feel like society does, where it's like, no, I'm just making my comments. Yeah. And I think you and I as theater people, we're used to notes. Yeah. And I realize this.
Oh, yeah.
We were raised with like, hey, good job, but here's what sucks. Fix it. And so we're very used to like being told, hey, that might not have been great. That's not a huge deal. Just fix it. And there's like other people, like if you say anything critical to them, they take it like a knife to the heart. It's like, why do you hate me? And why did you? And I'm like, I was just trying to make it better or fix or tweak. And I think you and I are so used to like, yeah, fix it. If you can help me, like I'll take the advice.
Yeah. And that
people aren't used to being
critiqued. That's a good point, because in theater it would even get to the point where if I didn't get notes, I'm like, well, you don't have any notes for me? Like I wanted notes, right? Because then it meant that they were watching or they noticed things or whatever. Like, so I always wanted notes.
So I love it. Even when people complain to me, and I think they think I'm joking when I'm like, thank you honestly for reaching out. Because even if I don't agree with their complaint, I like hearing their perspective and going like, okay, so that's what you took from what I said. Even if I think you're an idiot, I still appreciate going like, thank you for taking the time to explain to me how you heard what I said.
Yeah.
Even if I don't understand how you got there, like it's nice for me to know that that's how some people hear my message.
Right.
So to me, like even if I don't agree with you or like it, it helps me if I hear how other people take and respond to what I say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I love notes. I mean, I hate it. Somebody just says you suck.
Yeah. Well,
I don't hate it, but I'm like, that's not helpful. But if you say you suck
because
of this, I'm like, well, thank you for at least telling me why I suck.
You suck and.
Yeah. Exactly. Like improv. Yes and.
Yes and. Yes, you got it. You knew exactly what I was talking about. That's one of the big things we learned was yes and.
You can't just say yes. You have to say yes and. You move it forward.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. If you could create a dream segment for your show with no restrictions, what would it be?
Oh, I'd probably a man on the street.
Yeah.
I love people so much that like, and I love the celebrity interviews, but like I would just love being able to just like head downtown and just start just
like Billy on the street or whatever that was called.
Totally. Yeah. Just like going up to people and just going like, hey, what do you think about these political people? And just hearing them, whatever, I don't know who they are, and just asking random questions, hearing stories. I think it'd just be fun, just trying to get gold out of just random people. Like I love honestly learning about random people, and especially here. Like I'm sure there's fascinating strangers. We know the famous people in town and like the car dealers and but then I'm sure there's tons. After living here, like I've met so many. Every house I've lived in or place I've lived in town, I have met somebody nearby that is incredible that I had no idea lived in here. Like I lived in the worst apartments ever. I won't say exactly where downtown. When I first moved out, like I turned 18 and I was like, I'm moving out. Mom. Like I'd waited my whole life. I'm like, I want to be grown up. I want to move out. So I moved straight out, even though I could have just stayed at home. And I've got my own apartment that was very affordable, way downtown. And right over the dumpster of a rotting meat market dumpster. It was beautiful. There was an old historic, the Snook House down there it's like an old art studio, historic house. And it was owned at the time by Lauren Entz, I think was his last name, and he passed away now, but he was an incredible Western artist that was very well known, not so much here in Billings, but in the whole country. And then also that house has like Ernest Hemingway history and like all sorts of crazy history. And he one time was like, met me and was like, come into my house and showed me his artwork that, you know, and the value of these pieces and just the stuff you learn. And then when I lived up on the Rims, I met a neighbor there that bought a house that people that moved out were incredible. But then the guy that moved in, he's a Pulitzer Prize winner from the East Coast that is like a super famous author. And but nobody else in the city knows that he lives there. We're like, I know he has a house on the Rims, and like, and some people do, but it's like there's so many cool people in Billings that I think just are here and don't say it or do something that we don't hear about that I'm fascinated by. I'm like, wait, you live here? And like, why do people not care that there's like a guy that wrote cool books that is right there? Like he teaches at Harvard and these schools and he comes and lives and hunts here.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love just meeting people like that.
Yeah.
What's your story? What do you do? And it helps me understand the community more because I'm very much like embrace all parts of the community. Like we need rich business people and we need people at every job. Yeah, it's like I need to get my coffee and my burgers and I appreciate everybody that makes everything here work.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like I love learning about all the different people of like, well, what is your life in town look like? You know, what do you do and how does that function and how do we all contribute to making it work together?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things we talked about, like why do these coffee chats? It's a great way to learn what other people are doing in the community and who they are. And yeah, I've learned a lot. And then you become friends.
Totally.
And then because like there's a bunch of people that I've had on where I'm still friends with them to this day, and we chat. And
we have a group on the show that I love now called For the Blank, and they're out of Church for the City in the Heights. And their whole goal, the church started the group, and it's a nonprofit. I think it's a nonprofit now, but their whole thing, they have an Instagram page. They just each month they highlight a different nonprofit in town or a project that and I've noticed. I thought, I'm going to know about all of these, but even I have learned about some charities or organizations that I might have known the name of, but I didn't fully understand what they do. And so it's kind of the same thing of going like, people go, oh yeah, I've heard of that, or I've seen the site, or I know. And then once you actually hear what they do and can connect with the mission, it totally opens your eyes. I think it's the same with people and industries. And you know, once you meet people are like, oh, realtors are this, and then
Yeah.
you get to know, and you're like, oh, they're not all rich.
Yeah.
It's not all just sitting back. People watch one episode like selling
Oh,
sunset and go like,
no.
oh, that's Billy's life. It's like, well, not exactly.
I wish.
It's like once you get to know, it's like, okay, it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah. We were actually. I'm glad that you brought that up because we were talking about that at our leadership academy of how those shows have actually been detrimental to real estate professionals because it puts out that perception that it's easy money and we don't really work and you can find a house in a half an hour. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, no,
that's entertainment.
None of that is real.
That's TV, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant marketing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll watch it.
In their new location, you're like, yeah, it's working for the guys out there that are selling houses based on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you're marketing yourself as a realtor, what better way to market yourself than be the star of the show about real estate?
Yeah. Well, and you know how like you said that you contacted Robin Williams Well, I hate to admit this, and this is my early days of Coffee Chat. I tried to contact Ryan Serhant. I don't know if you know who that is.
I've had him on.
You had Ryan Serhant on?
Yeah. We've talked to him before because I was obsessed with selling with the New York version. So I've talked to Ryan.
I tried. I tried, and I got the really nice rejection. Like
at least you got a rejection.
Yeah, at least it wasn't complete like zero like response, but still. But I got it. I'm like, I'm just this little old, like, I get maybe 100 views.
Hey, at least you respond.
Yeah, at least
I'll take that over people just delete the.
Yeah. How did that go? How did the interview go? Is he cool?
It was good. Yeah, he was cool. Because I was a big fan of his, so I knew I knew the kind of guy he was.
Yeah.
So it was more just he was on and ready to kind of just talk real estate.
That's cool.
I think he was promoting something. He had a book.
His book.
Yeah. So I think he was promoting that.
Sell, I think, or no.
So now he's got it. Have you seen his new show?
Owning Manhattan. Yes. I have not seen
it yet. I watched it because he's huge. I didn't realize that, but now he's got his own, the Serhant.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying to say the T, I think, for branding reasons. He wants you to know. So it's Serhant. They're like emphasizing the T now.
Oh, really?
Because his name has a T on the end. Some people will say Serhant still, but some people say Serhant.
Serhant.
They're making it clear. But yeah, huge office. I think he's really doing some big
things. He's doing a lot of it. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's made it.
I love the guys that are just, I like that some people would say he's a little too much for them. But like, I love when you are successful enough to be too much.
Yes.
Like if you're too much at a point when you're like, you just got your license and just found out what real estate was, like, that's a little too much for me. But if you can back it up and you're running with other people that know you and that's just your personality, I love when they get to that level.
Yeah.
We all have our own personalities and we're all on the same level and we have earned it, especially for TV. Like, give me more people that do high leg kicks and some
Frederick Eklund is my favorite because of that. Like, I love Frederick Eklund, like his little high kick, and he doesn't care. He just does it. I'm like, I love that.
But you got to work your way up to that. You got to earn that.
You do.
First. You can't out of the gate.
Yeah. Just start high kicking.
Exactly. You earn that. That's honestly that happens in radio where people will listen to my show or then use my show as a basis of things they do in radio, and then they'll get in trouble. And they're like, you can't not play music. They're like, well, Big J doesn't. And then it's like and that's what I'd say. It's like our boss will say he earned that. Yeah. It's like we started doing it the way everybody else did, and then we earned the privilege to think outside the box. Where it's the same thing. I'm sure it's like once you're on that level, you can choose to be a little more crazy, but you can't just come out of the gate crazy. It's not going to work. You got to get to that level and then choose to be different.
Have you seen, and this is kind of on the lines of crazy and different, have you seen on the TikTok that Trent Miller, who does these speed tours through houses? You haven't seen
yes, I have seen him. Yes, I do.
Oh my gosh.
You're talking about by the name of what you
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And I still don't even know if he's an actual real estate agent. Like, I don't know if he just does these for fun or what, because he looks so young. So I don't know. I gotta look more into him, but he's doing speed tours now all over the country for other realtors. It's insanity.
Wow.
And he's been on the news, the national news, and I'm just like, see, this kid, he's just doing his thing, and look what happened.
I know.
But I think people are just too scared sometimes to be themselves.
Cool. That's what I'm like, embrace it.
Embrace it. Embrace who you are. Yes. Oh my gosh, we've gone over. Look at this.
We almost got El Wincho.
I was telling him, I was like, I think that my record was El Wincho, and we went an hour and a half.
John and Josh.
Have you ever had them?
Yeah, we've had them quite a few times. John was just on probably 2-3 weeks ago. And then Josh, not Josh as much, but Josh did pop in for a second before we had to go do another interview. But John, every time he's in town,
I love those guys. They are like the most genuine people.
That's where I'm that old, where I knew John back with the Clintons, but
The
like where
Clintons,
he
yeah.
was playing one time when I just started in radio, and I like asked him because I was backstage of the show, and I'm like, you have to talk to me because I'm the radio guy, and I was like, why aren't you guys famous? I'm like, why you
I
could
don't
be?
get it.
I'm like, you could, and he
Yeah.
explained it to me back then, and I didn't get it, but he's like, we chose this, like we could live that sort of a life, but like and now it makes sense because I see the life he lives. It's like he's a family man.
Yeah.
His wife has a career. Like he's like, I want to play music, but I want to live in Montana and grow my trees and like.
Yeah, he's very farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he very much just was like, we don't want that life, and like we've gotten offers, and I at the time I'm like, you couldn't be famous, but you're choosing not to.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what we do, and but I've
awesome.
loved that whole crew since back in the day.
Yeah.
Because back then they were the celebrities to me.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Now we're friends and we keep in touch and we've done tons of stuff together and always are texting. But like back then it was like it's John from the Clintons and like I love the Clintons.
Yeah.
And now it's like the Clintons are not even anymore really, and now we're personal friends and it's just.
That's so cool.
But yeah, back in the day he was the big guy on the rock stage and I'm like, oh, we get to see the Clintons play.
My husband always makes fun of me. They're like, you're a Winchell's groupie. I'm like, yes, I am.
They have a lot of them. I mean,
I'm following wherever they go.
They have a lot of groups. They're good dudes. That's the thing.
They
Their
are.
music's fun, but they're also just fun guys.
They're
it's hard
so
not
cool.
to like them because they're just such good guys.
Yeah, I had them actually play at my customer appreciation party.
They played McLovin's wedding.
Did they really?
He got married up in the Heights.
Nice.
They played his wedding up there.
That's cool. I love that. Yeah, they play a lot of gigs like that. So before we end, if people haven't like listened to you before, your app. Tell us a little bit about your app.
Yep. If you download Hot 1019 app, so just Hot and then 1019, two will come up.
Okay.
One is ours, one is Seville's #1 hit music station. It's not that, it's
Okay.
the Billings one.
Okay.
But yeah, if you download the app, you can listen 6 to 10 or 11-ish every weekday Mountain Time.
Okay.
But you can listen from anywhere. So
Nice.
on the app, you can pull it up on hot1019.com. You can download the app and listen.
Okay.
And you can message in. So we have listeners. I have a friend I met when I was visiting my fiance down in Texas, and he listens now down from Texas. We have a guy in England that McLovin met when he went to England that has listened for almost the whole show now, that stumbled upon us, and Alan from England. We've got Stephanie in Illinois. Like we have Jerry in Florida. We have people that for weird reasons have connected with the show and now still listen. But we have a spread of, so we don't have nationwide listeners, but we do have listeners that are spread nationwide.
That's cool.
With our niche little, but we know who they are. These people will report, hey, listening from North Dakota today for work, and so.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we like kind of knowing where people are from.
Yeah.
Jerry will tell us what the weather's like in Florida that day and what's happening
Oh,
that day.
that's cool.
But yeah, feel free to listen.
Yeah.
Because you can chat. That's the unique thing with the app. I mean, you can
You can
if
chat.
you guys are listening, you can. People say they hate podcasts now when they do it after the show because they keep trying to respond back. They're like, oh yeah, they're not going to listen to what I have to say. They're so used to we're wanting to type a message back to what the podcast says. Like, oh yeah, this is recorded.
Because it's no longer the caller number 9 or whatever.
Yeah, we're just looking right
so
here.
Cool. So you don't do calls at all anymore.
No,
it's just the app.
Just we use them for interviews, but we used to do kind of a hybrid. When the app started, we used to do both, and I'd use the app for one thing in it, but now it's just honestly, I think people have gotten so much away from talking and more texting that it's just so easy.
Right.
And then for me, it's so nice to not have to pick up a phone and
yes.
search your caller and then edit stuff. I mean, it just was such a hassle, especially for live on our show, that the app is just so nice where you can't, if somebody cusses, I don't have to say it, so it's just not as much of a, I don't have to read it. It's, people can be instant, if there's, I love it too for accidents and stuff. People can send a picture, hey, there's an accident at 12th and Central, and we're like, oh, is it that? And then you're like, oh, that's horrible. Yeah, avoid the whole area.
Right.
It's just nice for people to be able to immediately go, well, what is this? And say, I don't know what it is. And they can show us a picture and we can live.
That's cool.
Talk about things. So I love that part about it. I hate most of the evolution of radio, but I love some of the technology integration like that. I mean, that just helps make things be more live and instantaneous.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you're watching, download the app, and then you can listen to Mr. Big J over here. And McLovin. We can't forget McLovin.
And if you need a house.
Yeah, and if you need a house, you know where to find me. Billy in B-Town. Billy in B-Town. Nancy Johnson says the app is so fun.
Nancy's there all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Johnston.
She's on. Nancy knows what's up. Thank you, Nancy.
That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, I know that you're a busy guy, so I'm not going to keep it. Even we could probably talk longer.
Good.
This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
You've been a
going.
great guest.
Thanks for a little coffee chat. It's
Heck
nice
yeah,
for
good.
people to be able to
Thank
learn
you.
about people in the
Yeah,
community.
yeah. Well, you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy. And
I'll be at the fair tonight.
Oh,
Everybody's coming to
is the
Montana
fair
Fair.
happening?
Starts tonight.
It
Sneak peek night
does?
tonight. Hot1019.com. $3 off ride wristband coupons.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go there, coupon right there. And yeah, fair tonight. Big
Okay.
concert tonight. 303 Boys Like Girls, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus.
Oh, I heard you guys talking about that.
That's
Okay.
tonight. So
Okay.
if you're into that kind of music,
Cool. Are you going to the
I'll be
concert?
there. No, I'm skipping the concert, but
Okay.
I will be eating the Viking on a stick and hanging out,
Viking on a stick.
saying hey. So
Do you go on the rides?
I did. I've
Yeah.
aged. I say aged out, but
Yeah.
I'll do like a novelty ride here, and
Yeah.
there, like at the slingshot or something
Yeah.
for funny content. But I don't. I used to be the get the wristband, ride as many rides as you can. Then I ate. I'm like, yeah, now I'm too old.
Those
Right?
rides freak me out
Yeah.
too, because they're putting them together, they're taking them apart, putting them together, taking them apart.
Yeah, for me, I'm just like, my body doesn't need to be put through that.
And,
Like,
like-
I put it through enough. Yeah, I'm like, that's like a workout at this age. I'll go to the gym for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be in control of how my body's moving.
Yeah, and don't do what I did. Don't go on a roller coaster with a herniated disc in the back, because that was a dumb idea.
You're like, but it's here. And I want to.
I got peer pressure.
Yeah.
My friends were like, "Come on," and then I hated myself after. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thanks again,
Thank you,
Jason.
Billy.
I appreciate
Thank you guys for watching.
Follow, and you guys are Facebook, Instagram, and
Yep. Big J Show.
all the social.
Yep. You want
Okay.
some social? You can find us on
Follow.
things.
Follow,
Yeah.
follow
Follow us
later.
on Facebook. We'll post news if anything happens.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Guys.
Thanks for watching. We're going to end the stream here and see you later, Instagram. All right. And now.